Good morning, guys. This is the January 12th, 2017, and this is the second part about being targeted individual and what it means. And now the theory will meet the practice by the coincidence in my life. So I'm gonna be talking about the effective smear campaign. I'm gonna be talking about the influence of the artificial intelligence on the human mind, and I'm gonna be talking about the simply neural monitoring and that new line of systems defense we are facing all now. And this is what American military says weird science and magic, quote to quote the expression. Mango is here, just got chicken. So, thing number one, the synthetic telepathy and subtle influences and brutal influences on the human mind. You all heard about voice to skull technology, V2K. I fortunately didn't have it, although I did in my life have like 2 or 3 times by 1 second when I heard a sound voice in my head, but I would push it out. Later on, I figured it out in deep meditation when I'm very high up. That means when I'm connected with my consciousness, I'm above the line of thoughts. And then I also this is what I figured out in meditation. And in Buddhism, we know that thoughts are deceiving and that pure meditation is about the thoughts. So this is something what was going on very well with the Buddhist doctrine, which is very good in that sense. Another thing is when I was meditating, I could clearly notice that these thoughts are not my thoughts. And again, this is also Buddhist doctrine. I'll give you another example. When one woman came to Ajahn Chah and complained about her anger, he said, if it is your anger, why you simply don't throw it away? You know, if it is yours, or if these are your thoughts, why don't you simply control them like you're controlling your arm? So why don't you control thoughts? So when I stumbled upon one TED lecture where it says that per day we have about 50,000 thought processes in our head, and we verbalize about 2,500. It means we talk with about 5% of those thoughts, and in 80% they are negative. Now we understand that we are all mind controlled and we are all under influence of that particular artificial intelligence which been ruling this planet, part of the system which was ruling this planet from the beginning of the creation of this farm, and of course many farms before this, and gonna rule many farms after this one is destroyed. So again, in my meditation I figured out that there is this signal in the space which is simply sending a vibration of fear, and then it comes to many different levels and plays with the different clusters of human minds, like you have simply different human groups to play with. So after all this intro, now let's talk about coincidences. As you can see, it's omnipresent, and Mango is scratching himself on this selfie stick, and so this intelligence is omnipresent, and now I'm going to explain the coincidence. The coincidence is that yesterday I was talking about the Coca, Corona, and this kind of smear campaign from the outside which is trying to label me as a drug addict, and consequently, I'm the only one who is not a drug addict here. Namely, I'm not smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, drinking tea, and drinking alcohol, and of course I'm not taking heroin and cocaine in my system as well. Neither crystal meth, neither crocodile, that Russian drug which destroys limb. None of these things. My day begins with meditation, continues with yoga, then I give a chicken to my cat and rice to me, and then I do upgrade. That's how it is. Mornings. So yeah, this is kind of hard to say, but I got email from my mother, and in that email she was accusing me of going to Phnom Penh to get drugs, to get pills. And then I started to wonder how that image, how that came into her mind, and I could immediately spot the coincidence, what's going on. So, how is a system elegantly playing with human mind? It can simply insert images and pictures in your mind, and then you simply pull with them, and then you debate with those negative thoughts which are not yours, and then you end up with a conclusion. Also, this goes for every people, but we are now just now being start to be aware of it. You start thinking something, and then the thought goes into negative process. That as well. Did you sometimes do that? Why don't you try to observe your minds a little bit more, and you will learn a great deal about them. Oh, gee, I know. You working whole day, then you're drinking beer, and then you're watching telly, and you simply do not have time to reflect that. Well, you know, years of Buddhist monastery can help in that sense, especially if you spend most of the days in meditation and not learning chantings and trying to make money with blessing tables and cars, right? So, but it also makes you out, as in any system. So, this is the key. Once you start being aware of the traps of your mind and processes which are not your processes, then of course you start being aware of these processes in other people as well. That, of course, will make you target in the system, because what Buddhists call Mara, what I call matrix, is absolutely the same thing. And it is conscious, and it is evil, and it is controlling. And this is how it goes. So the as I say, for the simple minds, and simple minds are 99.9999999 of the human population. For the simple minds, is reality is what metaphysical evil repeats 100 times. That becomes reality. It doesn't have to have any connection with the real reality. They just continue living like that. What Winston Churchill said: every man, at least once in a lifetime, stumbles upon truth, falls down, but most of the men just quickly lift up, take dust from their suit, and just continue pretending that they didn't see anything. This is the reality. This is what goes on in life. And you people who are watching this, you're either people who are interested in this. This is majority. Then I have 1/3 of trolls. Then I have 1/3 of bots. These are my subscribers. 1/3 created by the artificial intelligence. Nothing behind the very shallow names. And then I have real trolls, which are like a little bit more elaborated. Then I have real individuals. And those who are real individuals, if you're watching this, and I should be making update about this on its own, but new policy now is, if you want to talk with me over email and proceed to Skype or Messenger later on, rules are face, name. Simple as that. Why Karuna? Because I burned my fingers before on wasting lots of time on a people which simply suddenly cease communicating or turn into something else, and I didn't even know who they were. So this is my minimum. This is minimum of communication. I really need to know how the person on the other side of the keyboard looks like, and what's is his or her real name. And especially because these things are not secret for the NSA and local powers that be wherever you are. So if they're not secret for them, why would they be secret for me? Right? Unless you're working for them, or unless you're mature enough to understand what I'm talking about. Again, sorry for hurting your ego as well, but this is a little message for those who really want to proceed more and more one to one. Face a name. Fair play, right? Should be. Okay, so let me recapitulate. The game of being a targeted individual really extends to the very subtle mind control when you actually realize that everybody is a targeted individual. Absolutely everybody. And I'm not gonna like go way too much into like that you all been hit by the economic crisis and circumstances, diseases which are created, wars which are created, hate which is created. Not only that, your thoughts being skillfully manipulated all the time. Not that you don't have free will, but what you have as a free will is very, very small. And once you start realizing how small free will you have, then you start to be targeted. Because what I feel about this system is not really omnipotent. This system relies on a set of tricks which are well run and which are working something like this. First, control their minds through this synthetic telepathy, which is present always, which is influencing the thoughts and forming the patterns of their thoughts. Before that, you already have implants in them placed when they've been like already in the womb, like lux implant and other implants, which are gonna form basis of the consciousness. So this is basis of the consciousness. Then you have thoughts, also not yours, 80% negative. Then then you have the mind control, the programming, the bit, stick and a carrot, which gonna push you into that certain way of direction, and your mind gonna already be structured to lead you there. And then you have everything else which follows, constant influence by the evil elements, reptiles, Illuminati, and psychopaths on the field. Then, of course, other monkeys around you, which are pretty much negative, right? And controlling as well, because they behave like their masters. And that's a setup. Um, every night, your aura, your soul leaves your shell. You go to recharge. You, of course, we are not conscious in a dreamscape, so we are also getting programmed in a dreamscape scenario. You can also individually be programmed for certain things. James Bartley was talking about pedophilia program, for example. Guy would dream that he's making love to a beautiful woman, and then suddenly that woman would turn into child. That was happening to the guy. In, one example in James Bartley dreams, when he was talking about how reptiles are conditioning people to basically go pervert in their minds. Or, for example, guy would make a love to a woman and then he would be penetrated from behind by the reptile in a dreamscape scenario. In this sense, he would connect pleasure of having sex with a woman with anal sex, and so on. So I don't remember these things, but I remember some other things which have been going on in my very realistic dreamscape scenario, which leads me to the topic of my lab, but this is not topic of this conversation. So, for the end, I would also like you to check out the answer to the Carla Conti and gang stalking and synchronicities, because this is also part of the whole story, but I don't want to waste too much of your time in this reflection. It's already 13 minutes, and thanks for watching. I of course feel that I have some more things to tell you, but I'll finish with this. Mango, say something. um, yeah. Bye bye. Bye bye.